I'm gonna tell you something. And this is honestly a lesson in real estate, but also a lesson in life. Play nice in the sandbox whenever you can. When I was growing up, my dad had a saying, and he said, son, you're gonna catch a lot more flies with honey than you will with vinegar. And he was right. The nicer you are to people, the nicer they're gonna be back to you. So I had a transaction not too long ago, and I was representing the buyers, and it was like $1 million house out at the beach. And one morning I got an email from the listing agent, and she said, "Hey, Gary, we have a problem." The sellers were going over the contract, and they realized that they had agreed to give the gym equipment and the shelving in the garage to the buyers, and they really don't want to do that. Now, keep in mind, this stuff is listed separately in a place on the contract that's very conspicuous, and it says basically other items requested. So it wasn't like it was hidden or anything. And then she goes on to say, so we're just going to send over an addendum that says basically the sellers get to keep their stuff and the buyers agree to let that happen. Well, my initial response was, no, you're not going to do that. You're not just going to send over an addendum and change the contract. Like, you guys agreed to that. But instead of firing off that email, I thought, let me just call the buyers and see if they really care about this stuff. So I called them up and I explained what was going on. And they said, well, honestly, Gary, we really don't care anything about the gym equipment or the shelves in the garage, but with Christmas right around the corner, we really would like to close a couple days earlier, and it would give us some time to get moved in and not have to be rushed before the holidays. So yeah, go ahead and let them keep the stuff, but ask them if maybe they would be willing to move a little bit quicker and allow us to close a few days early. So I called the listing agent, explained where we were, and she was more than happy to present that solution to the sellers. And it turned out the sellers were totally fine with bumping the closing up a few days because now they got to take their gym equipment and the shelves in the garage. So it was a win-win for everybody. And the agent actually thanked me and said, I really appreciate how professionally you handled this, because it could have really gone sideways. A lot of agents would have responded and said, hell no, we're not giving you the gym equipment or the shelves in the garage because you signed the contract. You agreed to it, which they did. But again, the buyers didn't want the stuff, so there was really no reason to dig in our heels. Just work together and see what we can come up with. So there's your lesson for the day. If you play nicely in the sandbox, 9.9 times out of 10, people are going to play nicely in the sandbox with you. And it's a win-win for everybody.